All right, so today we're going to tackle this huge misconception that trips up so many people who want to start something new. You know the one, the belief that you need some kind of brilliant idea to succeed. But what if I told you that searching for that idea is the very thing holding you back? Well, we're going to dig into that and uncover a much more reliable path to finding a real business direction. So let's just start with a really provocative question here. Think about this. What if that amazing, game-changing idea you've been hunting for, what if that's not the key to success at all? What if it's actually a trap? I know, it sounds kind of backward, right? But this idea, it gets right to the heart of a fundamental mistake so many of us make when we're trying to start something. And that right there brings us to what we're calling the idea trap. It's this belief that every successful business, every side hustle, it all starts with some big flash of inspiration. But the truth is, and as we're about to see, starting from that direction, it's often a one-way ticket to frustration. And, yep, a dead end. Yeah, I bet these starting points look pretty familiar, right? We kick things off with an idea we're super passionate about, or something we really want to do, or maybe just something that sounds kind of cool. But here's the fundamental problem. Just because we're interested in it doesn't automatically mean it creates value for anybody else. This whole approach puts what we want ahead of what the market actually needs. And that, right there, is exactly why so many of these exciting projects just fizzle out. Okay, so if starting with a brilliant idea isn't the answer, then what is? Well, this is where we need to make a pivot. We're going to talk about the usefulness principle. And it's actually a really simple but incredibly powerful shift in how you think about things. It's this: stop trying so hard to be original and instead start focusing on just being genuinely useful, on solving real problems for real people. Because at its very core, this is what a business is. I mean, really think about it. It doesn't exist just to turn your passion project into money. No, it exists to solve a problem for someone else. A business gets paid because it removes some friction, or it saves somebody time, maybe it reduces their risk, or just improves an outcome for them. That is the transaction. That's the real foundation of value. And this right here, this perfectly captures that big mindset shift we're talking about. You've got idea-first thinking on one side, which is all about, what do I want to sell? But then problem-first thinking just completely flips the script. It asks, okay, what problems are out there that I can realistically help solve? It seems like a small change, but it's huge. It moves you from a world of just guessing into a world of real, genuine opportunity. Seriously, just let this one sink in for a minute. Most businesses that actually last, the sustainable ones, they're not built on some once-in-a-lifetime idea. Not at all. They're built on being consistently useful. They solve a real problem, and they do it reliably, day in and day out. And that is the crucial point here. Being valuable is so much more important than trying to be unique. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But you're probably wondering, how do you actually do this? Well, we're going to walk through a simple but really effective tool called the Skill to Problem Map. Just think of this as your practical, hands-on guide to finding exactly where your own abilities can create real value in the world. So the process is just 3 straightforward steps. Super simple. First, you're going to list your skills. And hey, don't be modest here. I'm talking professional skills, practical things you can do, and even those informal things that your friends and family are always asking for your help with. Got it? Okay. Second, you're going to become an observer. Just start listing out problems you notice at work, in your daily life, in your neighborhood. And then finally, the fun part. You connect the dots. You literally ask yourself, how could this specific skill I have help reduce this specific problem I'm seeing? Now, I know what you might be thinking. My skills? They're pretty ordinary. Are they really that valuable? And you know what? That is a totally valid question. And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. Let's break down exactly why. Just take a look at this table. It breaks it all down so clearly. Chasing a brilliant idea is basically like chasing a lightning strike. It requires perfect timing, a ton of resources, and the result is, well, it's totally unpredictable. But applying an ordinary skill, that's all about consistent application. It lets you get better over time, and it leads to reliable, trustworthy results. Honestly, it's the difference between buying a lottery ticket and hoping you win versus building a house, brick by study brick. And here's the really crucial point. We all tend to undervalue the things that come easily to us. We're just so familiar with our own skills that we assume they're not special.
But that thing you do without even thinking about it, maybe it's organizing a messy spreadsheet or explaining a complicated topic in a simple way, that can be incredibly valuable to someone else who really struggles with it.
Okay, so we've got the core principle down, and we have the tool, the map. So now let's talk about how to actually put this thing into action. And just as important, let's cover the common mistakes you're going to want to avoid. All right, here are 3 big mental traps to watch out for. First, this belief that you have to be innovative. We've already busted that myth, right? Usefulness beats uniqueness every time. Second, don't ignore the small everyday problems. Seriously, these are often the best, most overlooked opportunities out there. And finally, don't assume your skills have to be super rare to be valuable. They don't. They just have to be valuable to someone else.
Now, it's really, really important to be clear about what this map is actually for. The Skill to Problem map, it's not a crystal ball. It's not going to predict success for you. Its whole purpose is to give you direction. It points you toward real-world possibilities, things that are grounded in what you can actually do and what people actually need. It just gives you something concrete to go out and test. So just take a second here and think about this. After everything we've just talked about, is there a practical direction, something based on a skill you already have and a problem you see that feels more real to you now than it did just 5 minutes ago? Remember, the goal here isn't some massive world-changing idea. It's just about getting some practical clarity. So let's end with a direct challenge for you. Right now, take a moment and just try to complete this sentence. One problem I could realistically help solve is... And hey, don't overthink it. Just based on your skills and what you see around you, what's one small piece of friction, one little annoyance you could remove for somebody else? Answering that one simple question, well, that is your first real step out of the idea trap.